All right, folks, here we go. Welcome to Help Talk. I know we haven't been around for a while. It seems a number of things have been going around, from allergies to all kinds of the usual seasonal stuff, where we've had guests queued up and then last minute something's come up, right? You've got to be flexible. And this is, I think, a key element of our conversation here today. We've got Luis Angel Torres Rodriguez, who is going to talk to us about 7 steps to greatness and overcoming just what seems like impossible odds on the path to achieving greatness again and learning from past mistakes. So with that, hello, Luis.
Mhm. Hi, thank you for having me.
All right. So just last week, Luis was awarded here with the Office of the Ombudsman in New Jersey, a state, or I should say, an employee recognition award for all of the work that he's doing in advocacy to help reentering citizens. Luis, you want to just tell folks a little bit about your work before we get into the 7 steps to greatness?
So before, sure, my name is Luis Angel Torres Rodriguez, and I am the founder of Societal Bridge Incorporated. It's a nonprofit organization that provides um, recruitment, empowerment, and educational services for returning citizens. And for those who don't know what returning citizens are, it's a dignified term used for formerly incarcerated or ex-felon. We prefer to refer to these men and women as returning citizens. Um, so before I got the job at the office of the correctional ombudsperson, I was doing a lot of advocacy work, a lot of public speaking at many of the events, and just basically advocating for returning citizens and for the importance of investing in returning citizens post incarceration. So I was doing a lot of advocacy work with a lot of grassroots organizations, the Latino Action Network here also in New Jersey. So before I got the position at the office of the correctional ombudsman, that's what I was doing. When I got the position, um, I was still doing a lot of advocacy work, and someone at the state has recognized that. And so the impact that my advocacy work, along with my brothers and sisters in the community, and the impact that we were having in courtrooms, and and just basically changing the narrative. So somebody in the state recognized that and um, gave me a recognition for those efforts and that mission.
Excellent. And so what Louise has shared is something that we've all got to take a look at. Some people want to give other people second chances. Some people are more reluctant to do so, and everybody has their own reasons, and everybody gets to make choices. And here at Help, we're all about helping people move forward. And Luis has got some great tips here and some advice on what to do, really, when the odds have been stacked against you, and how you find a way to keep moving forward. So, Luis, why don't you share your 7 tips with our audience? Let's start with the
So,
first one.
so the first one is mindset. You have to have a mindset and the belief that you belong in certain spaces. That's one thing. And I coming out post incarceration, and I stress that because if you come out with the idea that you have a criminal record and that no one's going to hire you or no one is going to open doors for you, then you have just defeated yourself. So that you have to come out with the mindset that I belong in the spaces, that I'm just as equally as qualified as anyone for the position that I'm applying for. So that is the most important thing that.
And it makes sense. I mean, mindset is so powerful just in all aspects. Small business owners, entrepreneurs, folks that have lost a job, trying to find that next job, difficulty on a personal level. It is about having that positive mindset that if you really apply yourself and work at it and say, yes, I believe I can make changes, I can find a way forward, then you will. But if you have a defeatist attitude, you're going to have a very difficult time, right?
Correct.
The world is not easy.
Yeah. The definitely
All
the
right.
world is not
Tip two.
easy.
Let's keep.
And
Oh, go
so
ahead.
tip number
Sorry.
two. Tip number two is you have to be prepared. You have to be prepared for, especially for someone who has done decades in the prison system, in the carceral space, and coming out. Technology has evolved, so you have to be prepared. And one of the ways you prepare, because no one on the inside is going to teach you what is going on in the outside in the real world. So the unfortunate reality is that there is no rehabilitation corrections. So folks have to educate themselves and rehabilitate themselves. So the second tip is you have to be prepared when you're going into the workforce. What does that mean? That means is you have to have your resume prepared, ready. You have to know how to conduct yourself in what not to say, how to look at someone, your potential employer in the eye, shake your hand. So these are all the preparations that I continue to stress to folks who are just recently coming out.
And I want to stress too that this is a key part not only of your advocacy work, but Luis has formed a nonprofit called Societal Bridge in New Jersey. And he has a big vision. And in that big vision, it's all about supporting reentering citizens on everything from, hey, let's get that resume prepared for you. Let's practice your interview skills and let's find a job for you so that you can move forward rather than just sending the person, hey, here's a bunch of links, watch some videos and good luck, right? And that's a lot of what happens now. And it just leads to a greater chance of recidivism. So Luis is taking the approach with Societal Bridge to provide a lot more of that support along the way to get folks, all the way through, not only to the job, but keeping them there, keeping everybody on track. It's a long-term commitment. So, Luis, anything else you want to add about that before you share tip 3?
Yeah. So and they're understandably so when returning citizens have done decades. It's terrifying. The work, getting coming out and applying for certain jobs. So that sort of is terrifying. So understandably, but so in spaces you got to prepare yourself. It's that's the bottom line. You're going to get guided by folks in the community because we have a support system, a support network, but you have to do the work. You have to go and do the legwork in order to get in. And so that's the two most important things for a successful reintegration, especially into the workforce.
And if you want to keep adding and providing some other tips, like what else would you like to share here as we move
Yep.
along and get
So
some other tips into folks?
tip number three. So you have your mindset, you have the preparation, and now you have to um, have the ability to effectively establish relationships. Because in the workforce nowadays, it's who you know and kind of the relationships that you establish. So it's not just simply filling out an application, doing the interview, and waiting for to see if you're going to get hired. Establish relationships. Whether you get the position or not, that is important. And a lot of folks neglect that part of just life itself.
And I think that that's key. I mean, it's just not just only building the skills. Whoops, I should have advanced to tip 3 there. But it's also just building those relationships. Who can you work with on the outside to find ways that help move your vision forward. And especially, I guess, when you look at opportunities to be able to move forward, when in your case you've had, for example, the folks that were involved in your crimes, that the family came forward, and not your family, but in this case, in the victims' families and people involved who were impacted, supported your release because they saw the tremendous effort that you
Right.
made. And I think that that's a tremendous thing, right? That's not easy. It's really going up against the odds, and you've done that, and you're doing that, and continuing to show.
Yeah. It was important because um, if you're in there and either you do two things, either you don't waste your time or you're going to change um, the way you thought, maybe the criminalistic thinking. Um, if you're there as an innocent person, maybe you become much better educated on your way out. So that's what I chose to do, better on my way out and more knowledgeable on my way out, so that I can better be much successful on my way out. And once I am out, so that's the things that those are the decisions that I chose to make. Um, and those are important decisions for men and women because most of the time they rely on someone else to educate them or to prepare them for the so-called real world. Once they have served their time on someone else, you got to rely on yourself, because once you come out here, who you're going to count on by yourself. Yeah, you have resources available, but you have to put in that work. You have to put in that work in order to have a successful transition.
And and so is tip 4, do the work or rely on yourself? Because both are good tips.
So the tip four is do the work. Do the work, because once you've established relationships, um, there are folks who, as you mentioned earlier, who are still on the fence about investing in returning citizens. And for a returning citizen, he or she has to um, work a little extra harder to prove that they are just as qualified. You have to put in the work, and that's the unfortunate reality. You may have all the qualifications in the world, but you got to come and show and prove. Put in the work, show that you are capable, so and that you're just as equally as qualified.
Exactly. And so, I mean, just, before we get into the last couple of tips here, what do you want to share with our audience who's listening, and who hopefully is being inspired and encouraged by the transformation that you've gone through, and how you're helping other returning citizens moving on with their lives? Because what people may not recognize is, like, wait for it, 1 out of 3, that's 77 million people in the United States, have a criminal record. Look it up, Google it. You'll see all kinds of reports that are on that. And the criminal record ranges from offenses of everything from illegal possession to more serious charges. So there's a whole wide range in there. So almost 78 million people in the United States have a
Mhm.
criminal record. And that's a talent pool that we'll need to draw upon, especially in all these labor shortages. Luis, what message do you have for folks?
Background. At 16 years old, I was arrested, um, and ultimately convicted of crimes, very serious crimes, and ultimately sentenced to 30 to life. Um, on the inside, I had to learn up. I had to grow up really quickly. I had to learn really quickly, and how to survive in a world that I've never been in. It was my first time ever getting arrested, as a child, because that's what I was. And I learned really quickly that I had to manage to survive. And the first thing I did is to educate myself, is to enroll myself in school and learn every aspect of of the carceral space, the rules, the regulations, the regular, normal curriculum, law, policies. And that helped me navigate this violent world. In 2013, I was one of the fortunate ones to enroll in college. Rutgers University, along with other credible institutions, were affording college education to the men and women inside. It's called New Jersey STEP. And I was one of the fortunate ones to be the first 144 to be enrolled in 2016. Earned my associate's degree at Rutgers University. Um, in 2022, 2023, I earned my bachelor's degree through Rutgers University. During that same time, I petitioned the courts for resentencing, and I was granted that petition, and I was sentenced to time served. And one of the reasons for that, it was because of my transformation on the inside. I didn't get no institutional infractions. I educated myself. I enrolled in countless and countless therapeutic and rehabilitative programming. But one of the most important things in my case, in my resentencing case, was the family of the victims. The family of the victims supported my release. I have always been supportive of my release. And so that was crucial to me. And so post incarceration, I was on a mission to change the narrative. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I knew the spaces that I wanted to be in. I knew the platform where I wanted to get into so that I can tell my story and that I can share the importance to people who are still on the fence, who aren't sure about the importance of investing in returning citizens. I had an opportunity to meet the head of the ombudsperson's office, who was introducing himself at Rutgers University, and everyone in the audience was critical about what his office is not doing for the men and women inside. I had the courage and the mindset to raise my hand and offer a solution. And the solution was to apply for a position in his office so I could answer some of these critical questions and critical concerns that these moms and wives and sisters and daughters and sons were attacking you for. A year later, he gave me the job. And that's my role today. My role today is to go inside and encourage the men and women inside that there's a possibility post incarceration, that it doesn't end because they have a criminal record. So not only do I do that, but I am also a supervisor at a sports center. And I am also an election official in my county as well. So the possibilities are endless if you subscribe to tip number one, the mindset that you belong in these spaces, that you are just as equally as qualified.
And I want to add, I think it's a really powerful comment that Rutgers University has on their NJ Step page. Actually, they make a couple of comments. They say at Rutgers University, Camden campus, our vision is that every person in prison who qualifies for college has the opportunity to take college classes while incarcerated and to continue that education upon release. Synonymous with the culture of Rutgers University Camden, the Mountain View community believes that our students embody the resilience and tenacity to get it done. And we are here to support you through to graduation. And I love this part. You only have three choices in life: give in, give up, or give it all you got.
Right. That's correct.
So,
And so the New Jersey STEP program has been instrumental in transforming a lot of lives. The many men and women who are now back into our communities are very successful, very well educated, and very successful. And one of those reasons has to do with the NJ STEP program. Um, and it was a pilot program in 2013, and it has grown to nearly all the institutions within the state of New Jersey.
And look at that. And as a result of that, for folks that are listening or have heard about Luis's story, he's in the process of getting his master's at Rutgers University in criminal justice. So things are possible, just people need to be given a chance. And we just live in a very, very judgy and difficult world. And this is part of where Luis's tips are so handy, because it is all about trying to find that path forward and having these 7 steps, I should say, to greatness and
Mhm.
overcoming all these gods, right? So if tip number 5 is rely on yourself, Luis, we got 2 more here before we wrap this show up. Give us tip
Yeah.
6 and tip 7, please.
Tip 6 and tip 7: manage your finances.
Hmm.
Be responsible to manage your finances. You're in the free world. You want to buy everything. You want to spend your money. That's a huge mistake. So my tips: manage your finances. Developing the financial literacy that can help you achieve stability. Right. Create a budget to track your income and your expenses. This is one of the ways to do just that. Um, and the other way to manage your finances is simply avoid high interest debts and explore the possibility of growing your money while it's in the bank. Like a high yield savings account, for example, like investing in stocks and bonds or familiar with, and like something like that. So tip number 6 is manage your finances responsibly.
Well, I think that's good advice for anyone and everyone, right? It's just too easy to hit that button on the TikTok shop or whatever it is and say, yeah, buy it, buy it, buy it. You got to show a little restraint and be smart with the money, especially now we're looking at some challenging financial times ahead for, I think, some of the economic, I guess, growth engines have slowed down, and we'll see how things go. But all right, Luis, bring us home. Tip 7. What do you got?
Tip 7: stay committed. Stay committed and be patient, because reintegration is a gradual process. That requires perseverance, that requires patience, that requires to stay on course. Set realistic goals, celebrate the small achievements, like getting a job, getting your first paycheck, opening your bank account, getting your IDs, getting your car, getting your celebrate those small achievements, and be patient with yourself. No need to rush. No need to rush. Progress is made one step at a time, and each positive action brings you closer to fulfilling that life goal. So stay committed and be patient. Everything always works out.
Excellent. So with that, we're going to wrap up our show here. And I really want to say thank you here to Luis. He is really stepping up and into the community. He's advocating for reentering citizens. There's more than 80,000 in New Jersey alone. And again, if you
Yeah.
think of the numbers that 1 out of 3 in this country have a criminal record, there's a lot to be learned from, folks like Luis who are advocating on how to be a better citizen, how to re-enter, and how to be able to support others who are going through some of the same difficult experiences, transitioning from the inside here to the outside. And I think it's a lesson to all of us to look at what we do, what we choose to do, how we engage, and what we can do to help, because there is talent out there and there are opportunities to work with folks like Luis at Societal Bridge to do so. So with that, Luis, hang on after the show here, but why don't you just say goodbye to our viewers and whatever message you want to close with?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. And I really want to stress the importance to you. These women who have served their time and have paid their debt to society just simply want a second chance at life to better themselves and to better their families' lives. So it's important to just take a look, if not to invest in these men and women who just simply want a second chance. We are all on the mission to change that narrative and to change that perception about how men and women post incarceration are looked at. And I just simply stress, come and join us on this mission to change lives, and we welcome you to do so.
All right, that's Luis, Societal Bridge. Stay tuned, everyone, for more details on his story as he continues to make an impact here in New Jersey and beyond.